Administrative Law Research, Part 3, Updating Regulations and Further Research. So how often is the Code of Federal Regulations updated? The answer depends on what source you use to access the CFR. The eCFR is generally the most up-to-date source, and it's free on the internet. It is current within a few days. Today is May 8th, and the eCFR is current as of May 6th. A CFR section in Lexis and Westlaw will indicate how up-to-date the section is. We see that the regulation here about organ donation on Lexis is about a week out of date. Westlaw is also current as of April 30th, 2015, so we will want to check for any changes to this regulation made in the past week or so. Key citing the regulation will reveal new changes to the regulation. Simply click on the History tab, click on Validity, and you will see a Federal Register section listed that amends the Code of Federal Regulations section. Recall that the Federal Register contains new final and proposed regulations that come out daily. So if I click on that Federal Register section, the Federal Register section is a final regulation issued on May 8th to allow for organ donation by an HIV-positive person only to another HIV-positive person if certain conditions are met. Previously, no organ donation by HIV-positive persons were allowed. Shepard's on Lexis does not pull up new regulations, so we would have to use something else to update our CFR on Lexis, such as searching the Federal Register, or you can use regulations.gov to update. You can use regulations.gov to update a regulation. Just click on Advanced Search. And regulations.gov has a convenient template where you can enter keywords, select final or proposed rule, put in the time period you want, and enter the agency. So we will see that there was a final regulation concerning organ transplantation issued on May 8th. You can also search the Federal Register to update the Code of Federal Regulations, i.e. you can search for final regulations. You can also search for proposed regulations in the Federal Register if that's what you're looking for. On Lexis or Westlaw, simply start typing Federal Register into the big box to access the Federal Register. On Lexis, you can choose to search via the table of contents or simply by getting the documents. So if I want to use the Federal Register to update the CFR section, on Lexis I would start typing in Federal Register in the big box, and here where it says add a source, I can click on either table of contents or get documents. I'm going to click on get documents. Okay, and then I can do a search for my key terms. So I'm going to do organ and HIV. And we do see the regulation that we're interested in down here, but you might be wondering, is there a quick way to filter out the Federal Register to find final regulations, or say to find proposed regulations, as opposed to notices or other things that happen to be in the Federal Register? What you can do on Lexis is you could scroll down and use these keyword filters down here. There's a filter for final rule. If I was looking for proposed rules, there's a filter for proposed rules, but I'm going to filter for final rule, and you see I get less results, and my result for May 8th appears more at the top here. Alternatively, what I could do is search the Federal Register, and I can search for the Code of Federal Regulations section that I want to update. And here I want to update 42 CFR 121.6. And so here we see our section from May 8th. There are also trackers available to alert you of changes in the regulations. You can get an email when there is a new proposed or final regulation. These services include setting up an alert on Lexis, Westlaw, or Bloomberg, using regulations.gov or Scout. Regulations.gov and Scout are free. Further research. You may need to look at the statute that gave the agency the authority to promulgate the regulation. The regulation itself will contain information as to what part of the U.S. Code the agency receives authority from. Lexis and the CFR on the free FDsys site also shows the statutory authority. Key citing or shepherdizing the regulation will lead you to cases, administrative decisions, books and articles, in other words, secondary sources, that discuss the regulation. On Westlaw, click on the Citing References tab above the regulation to find these further authorities. You can find the information and links that are in this video in our library research guides. Just go to the library homepage and click Research Guides, and then click Administrative Law Guide. Click on the Federal Regulations tab. In the next video, you will learn how to research agency decisions. If you have any questions, contact Research Services at the Cleveland Marshall College of Law Library.